Hello, and welcome back to another part of this podcast. And okay, I know what I want to talk about, but the thing is, it made me sound like an absolute hypocrite because last week I knew I said that I might continue talking about Dark Souls with maybe 3 or 1 or whatever, but I decided not to, so I just make each, like, I'm gonna go back into talk about Dark Souls 3 and 2 lore one day, don't get me wrong, but I want to save them for other times, so I just don't have like 3 podcasts in a row just talking about one subject. And talking about that previous week's podcast, I know I talked about how I don't really like negativity. I don't know how just the like how a lot of stuff are quite negative stuff, and that's why it draws attention. And I'm gonna be an absolute hypocrite and talk about Persona 5, and I'll say this right now, I do not like Persona 5, and I'm talking about the original version, not the royal one, but the original vanilla Persona 5. But before talking about Persona 5 specifically, I want to talk about a little history for Persona as the series as a whole. I got into Persona not from the first 3 games, but actually with Persona 3. I discovered the series quite young actually. Back then, I was like, what, 9 or 11 years old, I don't remember, quite around there, and I was for some reason really into death and murder, and as a kid I was terrified of death. I don't know what the hell I was thinking as a kid or as a 9-year-old, but like that was a part of my life. In Persona 3, when I first discovered, like, with the music and then with the gameplay and the story, it really helped me with my sense of morality, because Persona 5, one of its main themes is about death and acceptance and moving on, and it's like it really helped me as a child accept my own death. I don't know what the hell was wrong with me as a 9-year-old, but that's how I discovered this series. And I really like Persona 3, and I never played the original version nor FES, but I did play the Persona 3 portable on my PSP, and I absolutely loved it, especially the female protagonist. She was so much better than the male protagonist. But after I was done with Persona 3, I got into Persona 4. I never played the game. I did got a PS Vita and Royal, but I never finished it because like I just did not feel like it. It's not like it was bad or anything. It was just like I had other games at that time that I just really wanted to play. But I did watch the anime, and I really did love the anime of Persona 4, and it was very well made. So I was really into the series, and then I went back. I never played the first 3 games, like Persona 1 and Persona 2 Innocent Sins and Persona 2 Eternal Punishment, but I do know the story for those games, and I really love them, especially Maya. She's a great character. So, but then that leads to Persona 5, and as into the community back then, it was really hyped to see, because back then it's like Persona 4 was getting a lot of games, and then before they announced Persona 5, I remember they made like a hype thing about it, and they announced 2 other games before Persona 5, the first one being Persona 4 Dancing All Night as a rhythm game, and it's like, it makes sense because back then, because Persona has really good music and mostly was done by Soji Meguro, and it makes sense. And as a rhythm game, Persona 4 Dancing All Night is pretty good, but that's a subject for another time. Like the Persona series rhythm games, I want to say I like them, but I don't. But the other game was Persona Q, and I was really excited for Persona Q because it was for the 3DS, and it was like an Etrian Odyssey style game. I absolutely adore the Etrian Odyssey series. I never played any of the games, but I do love drawing maps and stuff, so having that game there seemed like having a crossover with that seems pretty cool, especially the story, and I was so excited for it. And then they announced Persona 5. They only had like a static image, and it's like, do you want competition or something? That was the weirdest tagline, but like it was hype. Back then it was like, holy crap, what does this mean? What is the red gonna be the color theme for this game? What about the music? What's gonna be? We don't know. And then like it took a while to be released. I'm pretty sure the game was announced like, what, 2011? No, I don't know. Oh, hello. It was first announced in, wait a minute. It was actually in development in 2011. It was first announced in 2013, and then it was released in 2017 in Japan, at least. Oh wait, was it? Yeah, 16 in Japan, and then 2017 everywhere else in the world. And oh my god, that was such a time to be alive. Actually, back then I never thought I could play Persona 5 because back then I did not have a PS4, but I did during that time, and I'm like, oh yeah, I should buy Persona 5. It seems pretty cool, and I did. Like, I got it as a gift from a pretty cool people from work. There were amazing. They got the game for me, and it was as a gift, and it was so sweet of them. Ooh. And like I have it, and I played it, and I'm like, okay, I guess I should start from the start. And I will say this now, the beginning part of Persona 5 is honestly one of the best in this series. I wanna say the Kamoshida arc, like in the beginning of when you first start out the game, which is like, that's how you do a beginning part of a Persona game. I'm not talking about the whole casino thing. I think that was okay, but like leading up to the game's release and for me playing it, I remember so many stuff. Like when they announced the first trailer, we finally see the characters, we see them running through the pyramid. That was just cool. And like the one part that I remember most that weirded me out, to say the least, when they announced the game's main singer, then that was being Lin. The after Persona 2, they decided to have the game have more vocals tracking them. In the third game, Persona 3, they had Yumi Kamakura. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's, oh god, I love her. How did I forget her name? It's like, let me just Google this. I am a professional. You can hear my keyboard and everything. What you call? Oh, really? No. Okay, I'll be right back. Yeah, I was right, Yumi Kawakura, and that was good. And we also had like rap parts sung by Lotus Jewels as well, which I absolutely adore. And in the third game, with Persona 4, we had, oh, what was her name again? It's the one that I'll always forget. Wait. And for Persona 4, we had Shihoko Hirata, and like, yeah, she's pretty cool. So we were like, oh, are they gonna bring back from the past two games, or are we gonna have a new singer? And we did get a new singer called Lin. And I'm like, oh, for me, Lin is weird. She's not a bad singer, far from it. Like, she has amazing vocal range, but I just wish the game used her vocals. Like, listen to the official soundtrack version of Wake Up, Get Out there, and then listen to the concert version. We got robbed in the official soundtrack anyway. So for me, that was like the first red sign, but I thought, oh, it's just the beginning part. We can hear more from Music later, which is true. Rivers in the Desert and The Winds of Fate, amazing tracks of the game. When they use her vocals, amazing, especially the Stars and Ours. Woo! Amazing. But anyway, like once I got the game and you first play through the Kamoshida Palace, it was like, it's such a good start, and I love it. Like everything about it, it was so good, and it's like, and it really hit home for me as well. Most people know this, but I am gay, and I came out like around high school, like my not the last year of high school, like halfway through high school. I was never shy about it. I was never closeted in high school, but like one kid asked me and I said yes, and that just exploded, and everyone was talking shit behind my back, and I listened and I could hear them because they did a horrible job talking shit behind my back. So everywhere I walked, there was always voices about me. And in the beginning part with the protagonist and his involvement and like juvenile or whatever, that like him being a criminal or something really hit home for me, and the atmosphere was just so good in the beginning part. And then you have whole Shiho committing suicide part. That was just heartbreaking, and it's like, oh, that's how you do a good start. Like, you set up Kamoshida being a horrible person, and then you have An and Ryuji reacting to him, like in the beginning being a little bit not wanting to do this, but the minute Shiho commits suicide, they're like, oh, he's irredeemable, we need to do it. I was like, that's how you do great characters. So it was such a great beginning. The palace itself, like, this goes for all of the palaces. Like, it's very straightforward. This time around, instead of being randomly generated palaces, it's just like pre-designed palaces. And for me, it's like, it doesn't make that big of a difference, because I'm saying it now, they aren't really that deep design. Their aesthetics are cool, don't get me wrong. One thing Persona 5 does really well throughout the game, having amazing graphics and visuals, not that about it. But it's like, no creative level design, no smart puzzles. Like none of the palaces have good puzzles. I say that right now, and that's coming from me, and I'm, oh my. And that's coming from me, who is really dumb, and like most of the game's puzzles, like the first 20 puzzle of a Professor Layton game. But like other than that, it was like, but it was in the beginning, so I thought it was like that's how you start, and it was so cool. The final boss, it was like, it's nice, and not the final boss, I mean the Kamoshiro's boss. That was just fun, and like it really made the game feel satisfying for now. But then you go to the second palace, being Madarame, and I'm like, it's okay. I hate how the fact that once you're halfway through, you need to stop to continue the next day. But like other than that, it was okay. I like the visuals, the song. Okay, I can't avoid it much, but like for me, Persona 5 definitely has the weakest soundtrack in the Persona series. I don't know why. I believe it's because this time around, like, it's only because it's like, it's not Soji Meguro is a bad composer. Like, he did an amazing job with Persona 3 and 4, but like Persona 5 just felt odd. Maybe because for some reason, like, he decided to focus on one genre, that being jazz. It's like, it's not a bad thing. In the past games, there was like one genre of music they did. Like in Persona 3 was more rock, and Persona 4 was more pop. But that didn't mean there were no pop or rock song in those games. Like Persona 4 still had a kick-ass theme, and it's like, either be it like a pop one, and then they had the cool rock and roll with Time to Make History. It's like, it was good, but Persona 5 doesn't really have any other genre than jazz and that one generic rock song. And Keeper of Lost, that's such a generic battle theme and that's what I would call the soundtrack. There is some standalone tracks that are just fucking amazing, don't get me wrong, but most of it feels generic, especially the Palace's theme. Other than Futaba's and Nijima's palace, none of them felt unique. Maybe Madarame's and Kenichiro, but other than them, they felt generic and forgettable, and it makes me sad to say it. Even the battle theme, Last Surprise, when you first start out the game, it's an amazing track. And then it keeps playing, and keeps playing, and keeps playing. And it doesn't help that the game is quite easy, even on normal mode. So the battle barely lasts 20 seconds, especially like in the end game where you just have to skip some of them because they're just low level or something. And it's like, you just hear the violin string over and over and over and over and over, and it just, oh, I'm getting tired of it. It's like, it was not fun, it was annoying. So that's my stand with the soundtrack. It does get amazing, but like, oh, and another part I did not like about the soundtrack, but because in the past to Persona 3 and Persona 4, they each had their own main theme. Like in Persona 3 is Burn My Dread, and in Persona 4 is like I'll Face My True Self. Like in Persona 3, and I mean by the leitmotif, each game like has a pretty cool leitmotif. Like in Persona 3, you had the Velvet Room theme. Like it was the first time we had the really good arrangement of it, actually, like the iconic Velvet Room theme, and Burn My Dread. And for the Persona 3, it was the opening, and you always see the Velvet Room. So like, when you hear the different arrangement of it, like during the Nyx Avatars battle, you hear the Velvet Room overall with this nice rock and roll beat, and it's like, you know how the Velvet Room theme sounds like, so it was amazing. And then you do the final Nyx True Form battle, and then you have a cool rendition of Burn My Dread, and that's how you make a good leitmotif. And Persona 4 does an amazing job with this leitmotif, that being I'll Face My True Self. Like you hear I'll Face My True when you first fight a true shadow battle of a teammate, and then after you defeat them. And then you have different arrangement for it, like as well, like this nice soft one, and then this fight theme. And then with Persona 4 Golden, like Mary Shadow boss theme has its own unique arrangement, I'll Face My True Self. And then with the video games nerd has his own unique 8-bit version of it. And then you have Genocide with the beginning sounds bombastic, and then you have this amazing orchestrated version of Face Myself. Like, that's how you make a really good leitmotif. And then you hear it in Nevermore, and that's how you do a good leitmotif. But then Persona 5 has one itself, but it plays like that only one time after Kamoshiro's Palace, where the group are in the expensive restaurant, and then every time you complete the Phantom Thieves Confidant, it's like, it's barely, like, it doesn't even play 5 times, and then it plays again in the final boss thing. It's like, it's not very satisfying. Like, I wanted to hear more of the leitmotif is called Swear to My Bones. I think that's what you call the boss theme. It's like I wanted to hear more of it to understand it, because when I did the final boss, I was like, yo, what theme is this? I don't did we ever hear it before? It's weird because I did all the Phantom Thieves Confidants. There's like disappointment, like, and it's weird because Persona Q has an amazing soundtrack by itself. It doesn't have a, like, it's not Persona 3 and 4, it doesn't have like a leitmotif to it. So it loses points there, but the soundtrack is very diverse, unlike Persona 5. So like, that was one of my biggest disappointment with Persona 5, and it's the soundtrack, and it's like, and I think a lot of people know that, but don't want to admit it, because like, there's a reason why Nier Automata won Soundtrack of the Year and not Persona 5. I'm saying that much, and I'm indifferent to Nier Automata as well. So that's my stand on the soundtrack. Back to the game, but like Madarama's Palace and Yusuke, they were okay. Yusuke, I don't say I don't like him. I like his design. He's a fun character when he needs to be, but I felt like he became a joke afterwards, and it was like, same thing with An and Ryoji. They're like, oh, you had your moment, and now you're just a punching bag for jokes. Good for you. And then the palaces itself was like, it was okay. I like the painting gimmick, but then they just used that for that one room, and that was it. The fight itself is definitely the hardest one in the game, in my opinion. It's just because like, the paintings, the 5 paintings, they don't have the same weaknesses, and they have the one weakness as the strong absorbing one, so that made it somehow hard. But other than that, it was okay. And then the third palace is like Kenichiro's, and like again, it's like, it wasn't memorable. Like Makoto, oh, poor Makoto, honestly. Oh, not Makoto, everyone pronounced her name wrong. It's Makoto, but I don't know anymore. They're like, oh, poor Makoto. It's just like, you could have been such a cool character, but you're treated as a fucking robot. And it's like, I'm sorry, no high school girl acts like that. No one asks, like, how do I be more human? It's like, oh god, and her confidant doesn't even help. It's like, poor Makoto. Makoto, what's your name? Just like, she could have been good. All of her awakening, like, all the Phantom Thieves awakening is honestly the best, but like, after there are palaces, it's like, you could have been better. And it's weird because for some reasons she's not the empress, but she's the fucking priestess. And it's like, I found it weird, like, why not make her the empress? Her code name is Queen. Like, for some reason they save it for Haru, but then again I'm like, but Haru can also feed us priestesses as well. I don't get the confidant, the tarot cards for the game, but like, and then you get to the best palace in the game, that's being Futaba's. Everything about Futaba's palace is honestly the best. Futaba as a character, she's amazing, one of the best cast members. And she's like, pretty cool, like everything about it, the music, the puzzles, okay, it was a simple tile puzzle, but it was fun, not hard, but fun. And it never felt like a drag. Okay, maybe in the beginning where you have to go to that one little town before going to the main palace, but like, it was okay, I liked it. The fight, oh yeah, Kanishiro fight was dumb, I'm saying it now. And Futaba's is pretty cool. I like how he's walkabout, it's like, oh, that's just a disturbing imagery, and like, oh. And like Futaba's like, oh, she's been through a lot, and it's just like, she's one of the best characters, and she has one of the best palaces. Everything about it is good, and I like. And like Futaba's theme, the palace theme, When Mother Was There, I think it's called. That's how you use the good leitmotif, because if you listen to the track carefully, it actually uses Tokyo's daylight leitmotif, and it makes sense because Futaba wants to experience the real world. I think, like she wants to explore the real world, like be able to walk around it, but she can't. So like having Tokyo's daylight leitmotif playing in the back of When Mother's There, it's pretty cool symbolism, and I love it. Tokyo Daylight itself, oh my god, I hated that track because it was so repetitive. It's like, oh, you don't have When Star Reaches Moon. Oh, you don't have Way of Life. Oh, you don't have Signs of Love. Nope, you get this one. It doesn't help like Beneath the Mask is one of the best track in the game as well. So like, god damn it, game. And then the next palace being quite controversial, to say the least, being a Komura's palace, is like, shockingly enough, I think this palace is not as bad as people make it out to be. Like, not even the puzzle was hard. I have no idea what everyone's on about the palace, the puzzle in the Komura's palace. It wasn't hard. It's just like, just explore every area and you'll be okay. And like, and it doesn't help that the theme for its Switch Shop is one of the best, not the best track, but one of the more memorable track in the game because it sounds unique and stuff. So it's like, it doesn't help it much at all. The fight itself is dumb as well. Okumura is like, oh god, it's like going through that path is like, hey, get it? Don't you see Okumura is a bad person? Get it? See, he's a bad person. Trust me, Haru, he's a bad person. Oh, and Haru. Oh, and I thought Makoto has a bad. Oh god, Haru, my this poor girl. She could have done much. She could have done so much. She could have been handled so much better, but she hasn't. She wasn't. It's like, oh. And it doesn't help. She has like this cute, adorable shoes. Like, oh, poor Haru, honestly. But then you get to one of the other best palettes in the game, Nijima's palettes. Like, I love casino aesthetics, so it's like, it's pretty cool. Also, you have Akechi. Akechi is a character. He's not that memorable, to be honest. He's not like, I like his design. I think it's so cool, but I'm biased with long hair as well, so that's just me. But like everything about Nijima Palace, I like casino, I like gamble. Oh, I don't like gamble. What? No, like I love the music, the aesthetic of it. It's very pleasing to the eyes, and it was nice. The fight itself, the fight itself is not bad. I love the Nijima's shadow self, like the monster self. I thought it was pretty cool. I like how grotesque and metallic it looked well, but like. The whole and then you have like the big reveal afterwards. Like it showed how the Phantom Thieves managed to cheat Joker's death, and I'm like, no, it's not smart storytelling. It was dumb because the thing is, the game purposefully withholds information from the player character to make it as a shocking reveal, like a twist. So like, and I'm talking about the part where Kenji kills Joker, but turns out he didn't kill him, but it was just a metaverse trick. But like I did not thought it was a good twist. Like not even Akechi's being the true the snitch. It's like that wasn't even a good twist itself. But it's like no, because it wasn't good because it purposefully misholds information from the characters. Not like in Persona 4 where they skip the scene where you or the main character touches the hand of the gas attendant. No, it's like it was shown to the character. But like in this game, they like when they talk about what they're gonna do, they make the character forget it all of a sudden because so far the game is being told through Joker's memory, which is so dumb on its own that makes me annoyed, but I have to live with it. So that one twist was not that good in my opinion. But the next palace, Shiro's palace, oh my god, that is where the game starts to drag. Like, oh my god, Shiro's palace was unnecessarily long and so formulaic. Like, go there and then go there and go there and do that 5 times, have fun. And the boss itself, Shiro was like, oh, I don't think he was good. He was so generic as well. Like, oh, he's a corrupt politician. What else is new? And once you're done with that, it's like, oh, you think everything's gonna be okay now, but nope. Then you have to go through the entirety of Mementos. Like, Mementos itself is supposed to be like, oh, it's not a big thing, but in the end it is kind of a big thing, and it's like, Mementos for me is like, oh, it was okay. I do love the last layer theme. I thought it perfectly captures the captivity and like how humanity is captive, I want to say. Like, it catches that feeling pretty fucking good, and one of my favorite tracks in the game. But other than that, Mementos, like the puzzle again wasn't hard. It was just, it was there, and like the whole endgame area, like, oh, here's God again. It doesn't help that they do this other shit thing. Like, I don't know about Persona 4, but in Persona 3 there was a plot point that like, oh, once you erase the Dark Hour, you're gonna lose the power of Persona, so that sort of becomes a dilemma to Junpei. It's like, oh, do I want to do this? Do I want to lose my uniqueness or something? Something that can help us. And then Persona 5 does it as well with, oh, we do this, we're gonna lose our power as Phantom Thieves. Can you believe it? And it becomes a dilemma for like 5 minutes until everyone agrees, like, yeah, no, let's do this. Let's reform society. So that dilemma lasted like a whole 5 minutes, but like everything about it felt, also, yeah, it's God again. It's like a manifestation or something. It's like, I was not impressed by Yaldabaoth at all. Like the whole last part of the game is like, I was not impressed. The only part that got to me was like Sojiro's holding up this diary of the protagonist. I thought it was a good moment, like in the end game area. I was like, but other than that, the whole ending part just felt, for me, and it's sad because like, oh my god, that ending theme was amazing. I love it. It finally shows Lin's full vocal range, which I wish the game done before. And that's like in the end game area is what I feel towards Persona 5 in general. For my entire playthrough, it took until I beat Final Fantasy 15 to realize that I did not like Persona 5. Persona 5 scares to try something new. It makes the story super duper safe. But I guess that's my whole story-wise feeling for the game and the palaces so far in the music. Character-wise, I mentioned this before, but it didn't took until Persona 5 Dancing in Star Night for me to actually like the characters. It's like, it's sad. Oh yeah, Morgana, out of all the three mascots of the series, he's one of the best one, no doubt about it. I like how in the end, it doesn't necessarily end as him gaining what he won. But it still ended. It was pretty nice. I liked his character. Ryuji, that goes for the entire cast. Like in the beginning, they're so well, but like after a while, like after they're done with their palaces, like their associated palaces, they just become a punching bag. Ryuji is the worst one. Like after he saved everyone from Shidos, everyone beats him up for some reason. That's just dumb and it was just for like a fucking dumb joke. On to Kamaki as well. Like I love her character in Kamoshida Pala, but then she's like loses character. Same with Yusuke and Makoto. Futaba's okay. Haru didn't get anything, and you have Koro Akechi. Like as a villain, he was so disappointing. Like compared to Adachi, it's like, oh, you could have been so much better. So, like the confident cast, like the supporting cast. Oh, I guess you have Igor, but I did think Igor's twist was one of the good part of the game. Like, I like how in the beginning it's like this deep voice, and like, I thought like, during the development of Persona 5, the original Japanese voice actor for Igor actually died tragically. So it was, oh, they're gonna change his Japanese voice actor. So when I first heard the deep voice, I thought, oh, maybe this is like another spin to this character to make him sound different than before. So I thought, oh, maybe they're gonna follow suit in the American version as well. That's what I thought will happen. But that twist, that turns out that he's actually the evil one and hid away Igor. I thought that was actually pretty cool, and like, yeah, that was a good twist. Caroline and Justine, like out of the Velvet Room, they're like my least favorite one, but they were still pretty cool. I like their design. Lavenza as a character design, I liked her. She's adorable, but I wish she had more screen time. But like because she shows up towards the end and that's it. Now going into confident wise, Taya Takemi, she was okay. Like it's a common criticism that like most of the confidants end the same. Like you go to the mentors to save them. Not all of them, but most of them do. And it's like, and like it's most of them like, oh, there's always this one person being a dick to them, and like, yeah, that's it. That's pretty much it. Like that's the case with most of them. Like Taya Takemi, like not that memorable. I like her character design. Her original voice actor's English one was pretty fucking cool. I'm not gonna lie. But there isn't much to say about her. And then you get EY. I do not understand his appeal. Like even through his confidant, I'm like, he's okay. He's not that deep of a character. Not even his design. I feel like he looks generic as hecky, but like, And then the other one being Yuki Mishima. I like him. He's a cool character. I like how it was like working with the Phantom Thief, not like directly, but with the fans side, and that sort of corrupted him. I thought that was a pretty cool way of handling his character and a logical character. And I like how he resolved it himself, showing like, sometimes the Phantom Thieves don't have to do getting the hard thing. The character can just grow on their own. That was just pretty cool, and I liked it. And now we're going with the best girl in the entirety of Persona 5 being Kawakami. She is hands down best girl. Her design is cute, her confidant is kind of lackluster, but other than that, she's cool. I like her. Best girl. And it's like, everyone say those who like Kawakami is like some old 30-year-old fat guy, but like, no, I'm a 18-year-old gay kid that already likes her, who thinks her design is pretty cool. I like her. Like, her dating site is absolutely adorable, and I like the implication, like, oh, instead of the protagonist being gay to change society, no, he just dates older women. I'll take what I can get, I guess. And then you have Ichika Oya. I found her forgettable. Like, her design is definitely unique, not like, oh, we made her so everyone wants to fuck her, but it's like, Yeah, but I guess I can see who's the least favorite one. Then you have Chihaya and Mifune, I think, and like her design is fucking cute. I love her bandana and her whole dress being like this fortune wheel. I thought it's absolutely adorable. But I hate how in the beginning I hate how much you need to pay for her in the beginning part. And again, with most other confidant, you need to go to Mementos to end it, which is just. And then you have Hifumi Toka, which I like her design. I like this cool little ribbon she has in her hair. I like her Christianity reports, I want to say. I like her character. I like her story. Like as a character, I thought she was actually pretty interesting. But it ended the same as everyone else, which she's my second base girl, because I actually, on my second playthrough of Persona 5, I decided to date her instead of Kawakami, which was like the hardest choice for me. And then it was cute, I liked her. Confidant could have been better. And then you have Shinya Ota, the kid. Oh my god, I completely forgot about him in my original playthrough. It was sad. And then you have one of the best confidants in the game being Toranosuke Yoshida, and it's like, how is he more and memorable than half the fucking cast of Persona 5? Like half of the fucking tandem teams. Like, how do you do it? Literally, Yoshida is such a cool character, and the fact that it ends him knowing who Joker was without him having to do anything in the mementos was just so cool, and I liked him. Like, okay, getting to his confidant is kind of annoying, but other than that, his confidant was cool. Being into politician turns out to be pretty fucking cool, and it confuses me so much. So yeah, that's like all of the confidants. Like I'm maybe being hard on it, but it's like, and I'm not saying Persona 5 is a bad game, far from it. One thing Persona 5 does really well is the visual aspect. The game is just oozing with style and nice little details, but like everything else about it just feels subpar when it comes to character, music, or stories. Like, and I feel like it was because the game had such a long development cycle, not a really big one or something, but they wanted to play it safe because they worked so much into it. And it doesn't have like the main theme of rebuilding society fell short for me, because like Persona 3 had like the whole death and life, how sometimes like we can't always get what we want and we still have to move on, especially the answer in the FES. That was just amazing. In Persona 4 we had the whole accepting who we are as human. That was just pretty cool. And Persona 5 just the same as always. Like, it doesn't try something new. It's like, it could have been like Persona 5 could have been the perfect game to have such a be the first Persona game to have like gay option. That could have been such a cool feature, but in the end you get like this one homophobic ass scene, like, say what you want. That was just far done homophobic to say the least. It was like, yo, thanks game, this is what I look like to other people, by the way, thanks. It's just sad, like, and it didn't took me until, like I said it before, once I beat Final Fantasy 15, I realized that I did not like Persona 5, and it's like, and I want to love Persona 5. There's so many other stuff I loved about okay, that's a lie, there's stuff I liked about the game, but it's like, I want to, and I do, but like everything else just makes me don't want to. That didn't stop me from buying Persona 5 Royal. I heard some good changes, and hopefully those changes were good. I bought it like last month, and I managed to do only the first palace, and I liked it so far, and I liked the little added details, like with Cherry Blossom falling and the new Kamoshida's palace. Like, oh, there was actually a puzzle in this game. That's amazing. But like, I also like the first beginning part of the original version of Persona 5, so my hopes are not that high, believe it or not. So it's like, So like, that's my stand at Persona 5. I want to love it. I know there's good stuff about the game, but like, hell, even Persona Q did a better job of having a better Persona game. It's weird, and it's sad. This is gonna be a really short podcast compared to any other, but I just wanted to talk about why I did not like Persona 5. Hopefully next week will be a little bit more positive, me talking about why I like a video game. Well, maybe I can talk about Final Fantasy 15 again, who knows, but hey, that's it for today. Thank you for listening, and I hope I can see you again. I hope you come again here next week. Oh, I hope Persona 5 Royal is better than the original version, not gonna lie.